Ever since the little animated desk lamp started hopping up and down on the big screen, Pixar's been rolling out movies that make families jump out of their seats. On this episode of Three Dimensional Dads, we're jumping into our first episode of Dads on Screen, DOS. Pixar. We'll look at our favorite dads and themes of fatherhood throughout the Pixar universe. So get ready to go to infinity and beyond on this episode of Three Dimensional Dads.
Three friends, all dads, exploring every dimension of being a geek.
I'm Jay.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Ian.
And if it's possible, in post-production, maybe we can get a little lamp jumping across our screen. I don't know. That would be good.
A not copyrighted lamp, sure.
Yeah.
You have to talk to our editor-in-chief over there.
Trademark infringement.
A royalty-free generic lamp will hop across the screen.
Yes. Yeah. I actually here in the office, because my wife has a desk and I have a desk. On her desk, she has the Pixar lamp. We got it at IKEA.
Oh,
cool. Yeah, I can't
like an imitation of it.
No, it's the style. It's the style. It's like the same style as the lamp. And there's actually a Hermione Lego figure hanging from it.
Would you say you love lamp?
I love lamp.
I love lamp.
I love lamp.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ian, are you just saying you love things around the room? I love table. All right. This is not.
What thinking about Pixar,
I love Pixar.
right?
How
Yes.
could you not?
Oh, of course.
Like Pixar is.
I loved it before I had kids. I loved it more once I had kids. It's a whole different relationship with them.
Yeah. I feel lately they've been having a lot of sequels, though.
Oh, I think that's risk aversion.
Yeah.
It's that, boy, it's a lot easier to greenlight Toy Story 7 than it is to go, hey, let's try something different
Yes.
that they could get burned on.
Yes.
But
However,
then it's diminishing returns.
right.
When it's not new IP. It's like, that's the cool thing is to come out with a new movie that blows up and is everyone's favorite.
But
But it's diminishing returns when you're getting through those sequels.
Do you guys want
you can only sell so many Buzz Lightyears doing it.
That's true. well, do you want to feel old? Do you know when the first Pixar movie, Toy Story, was released?
I don't.
95? 94?
Ding, 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 Ian. 95.
Really?
Bam!
Which I don't math particularly well, but that's 30 years ago.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Now I feel old.
Very
Correct.
old, yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. There might be some grays over here hiding.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, I know.
Were you guys a little sad that there weren't any Star Wars toys? Like, when I saw Toy Story, I was like, oh, all my toys are Star Wars.
Oh,
But, like,
in
these are
Toy Story.
generic. Yeah, in Toy Story.
Yeah.
Because in Indian in the Cupboard, they had Darth Vader, and I was like, that's awesome.
That would have been cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh man, but there are so many. I'm just like flipping through the list right here. Toy Story,
There is.
Monsters Inc., A Bug's Life, which was great. Cars,
Yes.
Up, which makes everyone cry.
Yeah.
Well, Pixar, too. I mean, Pixar's known for being so transformative.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like their movies have been so amazing, and they make movies about things you wouldn't think would be good. Like
Or-
a movie about inanimate objects like toys. Or
Right. Or something that you couldn't think that animation could do.
True.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
taste.
Yes.
I never thought you could have, they visualized taste in Ratatouille that I thought was like coolest thing ever.
Or
Where
emotions.
it's like the creamy cheese and the
Right.
poppy strawberry. It's like, wow. Yeah, or emotions in
right. Or emotions.
Inside Out.
So it's like
Yeah,
So
exactly.
interesting.
the function of imagination, right? Because they're doing it in an
Yeah.
animated space,
Yep.
right? Which I think is
Right.
really cool. And some Pixar movies are human, right? And others are anthropomorphic, right? Anthropomorphic.
Yep.
So, like, it's not so much just like that Pixar technology that was developed at the time, kind of like DreamWorks was doing the same thing around the same time. But Pixar just they threaded the needle, right? They threaded the needle and they found the way to tell stories in that space that resonated with families. Because, I mean, if you look at the list of Pixar films, most have some sort of family theme.
Mhm.
They vary widely about different families and whatnot, but most have a family theme or things that families deal with. So I think it's a great bridge to really talk about Pixar and what our experience is like as dads, and our partner's experience too, and us as parents, really.
And it's so awesome the way they work on those two levels. Is that like, yeah, I mean, I saw Toy Story as a kid. But
Right.
now I'm showing Toy Story to my daughters, and I'm seeing it as a parent, and it's a whole other level of stuff that was so interesting. Like
Right.
Woody is the mom's toy, isn't it? Or was it? I think you find out later that like it was hand-me-downs from his mom.
Right.
It's like, now my daughters play with my Star Wars stuff or my Teenage Ninja Turtles. They love turtles.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, even more than my Star Wars stuff, it's the Ninja Turtle stuff is really landing with my daughters. They love it.
Well, and something, so I think we're going to get into this at a high level, what our favorite Pixar movies are. One of my favorite movies, when I had just graduated college, Finding Nemo came out. And not only from a technical standpoint, that blew me away, but it was this just high level action adventure, father-son type of thing. Now that father-son story resonates more with me than just the adventure part. I love the turtles, right? The turtles, like when they're sweeping through the currents, right, in Australia, and I love that. It was such just like high-flying adventure, and I think we'll get a little bit more into it, but that really the father-son bond, right, of the two fish, like really is like Marlin Company's just like, that's what really just now like pulls at your heartstrings being a dad.
So that's your favorite Pixar movie, right?
That's my favorite Pixar.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo is, I think, the first one I saw in the theater that had this lasting impression of me that this is storytelling in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Toy Story broke a mold, but to me, Finding Nemo was such an achievement. And just, I love the ocean. I love underwater, that whole thing. The fact they were able to do that, to transcribe that, and that's just that story, how original it was. Ellen DeGeneres, she was hilarious. It was just a whole complete movie to me. I loved it.
I'm going to talk more about, because Finding Nemo is kind of my dad vibe for this episode, but I love Finding Nemo, but my favorite one is WALL-E. I love WALL-E.
Oh, you love that one too? Because
it takes science fiction, it takes the environment, there's a little bit of a family dynamic and a friend dynamic in it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, WALL-E was like kind of the first movie in the next step of Pixar technology. Like I think, as Pixar started it to improve their computer generated, animation. I love WALL-E. I think it's great. The message is great about the environment and making sure we take care of what we have. And I think that transcends into the family stuff too, right? We have to take care of what we have, our children, our family. Yeah. I really love that movie. I rewatching it, here and there, but I think I might, rewatch it at some point in the next week or so, because I haven't seen it in a while. I think I might just kind of revisit it.
I own 2 Pixar DVDs. One of them is Finding Nemo. The other one is WALL-E.
See, I made the mistake of owning every Pixar DVD, and then by the time my daughters were born, Disney Plus has all of them in 4K, and they're on a shelf. Yep. We never watch all the DVDs I bought. I was like, when I have kids, they're gonna. I had them on a shelf ready. No, Disney Plus made them all obsolete. Good planning. So since I own, I've revealed I bought them all. It's hard not to say Monsters Inc. and Ratatouille. They have a very special place for me.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. with Little Boo, stand-up comedy, and I think it's so good. But I gotta say, Inside Out. That's one where, man, to me, that's what's it raises it above other movie companies. Is like, that is a concept that is very hard to land.
Yes,
very true. Yeah,
I thought Soul was a hard concept too, but I don't know if they landed it as well. Where like Inside Out, man, I think about my emotions driving, like my actions. It's like when you see anger takes the wheel and just goes. It's like that clicked for me. There's so many things about that, and talking emotions with my daughters. I thought that is such a cool movie that is just one of our favorites, and I love the music too.
And again, the casting, right? Who better for anger than Lewis Black?
Oh, right? Yes. Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah,
and Amy Poehler too. I mean, Amy Poehler's Joy is my absolute favorite. But. So if we want to get into talking about father figures.
Yeah.
So I think if we're talking this, I'll shift over to what is my favorite father figure. Toy Story, it's just a pair of shoes. It's like when Pixar first started, there weren't really father figures. It was all focused on the toys.
Yeah.
They're a nice pair of shoes.
Yeah.
But, I think the first one I thought of fatherhood is The Incredibles.
Yeah.
And Bob Parr. And I thought he is just such a cool example of a dad. And now that I am a dad, it hits on like a whole different level of like this guy that like he had this whole life and he was a superhero and he had this, before kids was such a clear different time.
Yes.
and now having kids. Boy, does it feel like a different lifetime.
Right.
It's such a different shift.
Yeah.
And I love seeing Bob Parr, in Incredibles 1 and 2. But I thought that's probably my favorite father figure. I like seeing him struggle with how to input with, how to fit in, how to parent, how to intervene, how to step in.
You are your kid's superhero, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
I think my kids look up to me like Mr. Incredible.
And trying to provide too, right?
Yeah.
That's another thing, right? That
Right.
he wanted to get back into it because he had that dead end job, and he just really wanted to get back to something that was exciting for him too.
Right.
Where he had that midlife crisis. He's going around sneaking behind, Mrs. Incredible's back to go back to superhero and stuff, right?
But he's kind of getting his groove back, though.
Yeah.
You can get stuck in work and get in ruts, and just trying to find that things that you were passionate about that made you feel like yourself.
And then they bring the whole family along for the ride,
Yep.
which I think is really cool,
Yes.
right? They get the whole family involved. I think, which I agree with you. That's a really good take.
So who's your favorite dad? Derek.
Mine.
Yeah.
So we'll get into this a little bit because Jay originally took what I thought was going to be mine because I really like Finding Nemo, but burn. I actually recently watched Luca. It was one of these films. It was one of these Pixar movies that was been on my list, and I never had a chance to go see. And I wanted to see it in the movie theater, but it just passed me by. And the thing that I really liked about it is it isn't. I'd say compared to some of the other Pixar films, it didn't have as big of a splash compared to a lot of them. It's actually
Pun intended.
Yes, pun intended. It's under 2 hours long. It's not one of these giant epics either, and I'd say it's more experimental for Pixar than some of the other films they had. But there's this character. His name is Massimo, and if you don't know the story, it's essentially about these sea creatures, these sea monsters that live under the ocean off the coast of Italy somewhere. And there are two boy sea monsters that want to go off and have adventures. And they're chasing what they want to be their ultimate vehicle for going on these adventures. Their imagination are Vespas.
Vespas.
Oh, I always wanted a Vespa. Those are awesome.
So they sneak off to this island, and whenever they come out of the water, they turn human. But if they get wet, if they got splashed, if it was raining, then they transform back into these sea creatures. Anyway, this character Massimo, he is this big single dad, big burly guy. The two kids meet up with this little girl in the village who's getting bullied around by this other person. There is this big race that's sponsored in this little island town, and it's actually kind of funny because it's sponsored by this pasta company, and it just seems like it would be like any pasta commercial that you would have. It's hilarious. Anyway, he's this guy Massimo is also a cat dad, and he's amputated, and he's a fisherman. And
That's a lot.
I think it's a lot. This is like not only is he strong,
there are layers to it. It's
layers. He has this prejudice against the sea creatures because I think they are implying that they took his arm at some point, right? And he doesn't know that these two kids that his daughter brought home are sea creatures. And eventually, he has this epiphany when the two creatures are helping his daughter to, win this race in the town, and they're getting bullied. He stands up for the two boys.
That's great.
And he then convinces the whole town that these creatures are not bad. And it's amazing how he goes through this transformation. Not only that, but one of the boys, his name's Alberto in the story, because his father left him to be on his own. He adopts him. And they go, and he helps them with the fishing in the village while his daughter goes back to school in the fall because he's like a part-time dad. So to me, to have this really complicated, he looks like a giant football player. There's this like stature of a person, and he doesn't say much in the film, but to have his character transform that much is pretty amazing to me. It was pretty cool.
More than the transformation of the fish boys.
Yes. An internal transformation rather than an external one. Hey, what about you?
I'm gonna kind of combine this segment and what we're going to our next segment because I did steal your movie. Mostly because
it's a great character.
Mostly because Marlin from Finding Nemo is played by the great Albert Brooks, who I believe passed away. Fabulous actor, fabulous writer. In fact, one of my favorite movies, a little side note, is I forget the title. Oh, it just came one right out of my head. Oh, he was in the movie with Meryl Streep. I never knew the title until I was an adult. Oh, that's going to bother me. We'll put it in the show notes. It's about when he goes to heaven, and it's like a trial for his life, and he can either go to heaven or be reincarnated. I can't believe I can't remember the title off the top of my head. We shouldn't shoot these or record these at night when my brain doesn't work. But anyway,
comment in the basement below.
Comment in below. It'll come to me at minute 26.
Of course.
So Marlon is a single dad. I'm not a single dad, but Marlon's a single dad, and due to circumstances kind of beyond his control, he suffers a loss. He loses his wife. He loses her eggs. So he's been traumatized, and he's raising Nemo by himself. He's constantly in a state of anxiety, constantly in a state of protectiveness. And I feel like that's me, because my daughter was in special care for with the NICU for the first week. And then she had Kawasaki's disease at one point when she was 4. And I've had all these different hospital stays and traumas, and it really has affected me. And I've been a lot better with it now that she's older and a lot more self-sufficient. But when she was, she's a little tiny baby and she's hooked up to all these machines, or when, she's in the hospital and her fever is 104 and she can't hold anything down, and for any parent that affects them. But, Marlon is so protective of Nemo. And then all of a sudden, he gets, whooshed away. He loses his son.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. And you're watching the film and it's a beautiful film, but it hits you. And for me, when I watch that film, it just reminds me of my own anxieties, not in a bad way, but in a way I can relate to that character.
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't a fish, if he was just another dad, I would totally relate to his anxiety about where his son is, fears of losing his son. I think the journey to go find Nemo was just a beautiful thing, and it allowed Marlon to kind of process his trauma too through the journey. And we're getting really kind of esoteric here, but I really did love that. I really did love that about Finding Nemo. Finding Dory, it was okay. It was funny, but the heart of Finding Nemo, I think, is amazing. I think it's just great. It's great stuff. Ian.
So different as a dad. You can be hurt in a brand new way.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
man, that vulnerability that you have, or losing your kid. I mean, I know sometimes I turn around and I'm like, where's my daughter? I'll be in a department store or the mall, and I turn around and that's a panic that is a unique, hold on, whoa. They were right there a second ago. Because they don't stay where you put them.
No, they don't.
I've learned. Little kids, they go all over the place, and keeping an eye on them. Man, that is a unique panic and a unique hit. So different as a dad.
True.
Yeah, and the struggling with trying to protect your kid and then letting them go, right? And then having to, process that trauma, like you said, yourself, and being willing to take the chance and take, the swim out into the open ocean, right?
Yes.
That's a huge metaphor. It's a huge metaphor. In your own four walls, in your own house, you're safe. But, out there in the big bad world, especially alone, it's terrifying.
So this is a perfect transition into talking about, Incredibles is one of my faves. But I love Incredibles when they're out on the island.
Yeah.
And Helen, Elastigirl has to tell her kids, on TV, those bad guys that they don't shoot kids and don't hurt them. These aren't them.
Yeah.
These people will kill you. You need to use your superpowers.
Yep.
They will not take it easy on you because your children. I thought that was such an amazing. She's a great mom. I know we're doing dads on screen, but man, I thought Elastigirl, the pair of Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible, so awesome seeing them navigate that. And it's more about protecting their kids. It's less about superpowers and all that stuff. And I love that core of Incredibles. It's just so awesome. And I hope Fantastic Four takes. I think this is such great family dynamic stuff that, I hope Fantastic Four can borrow some of that. But, I love Bob Power with the math. I thought that's one of those things where I see my daughters doing math now, and math is not the same as it was when I was a kid.
It is not.
Flashcards are gone. I mean, I was like, timetables are flashcards, right? I had a little pad. Again, you would just, you flip through them and you work on, now it's all apps. It's app-based stuff.
It is app-based stuff, and it's on computers, and it's very complicated. And I'm a teacher, and I'm seeing this math, and I'm a history teacher, full disclosure, but yikes. Correction, by the way, let me just jump in really quickly. The movie is called Defending Your Life, and Albert Brooks
Let's talk about it.
is still with us. He is still with us. I was thinking of Norman Lear, because from that old school comedy. But yeah, just as we digress a little bit, Defending Your Life, Albert Brooks, Meryl Streep, great film. Please go see it.
I'll flash the cover on the screen.
Yes, please do.
So, Derek, what's your favorite? Who do you think your favorite Pixar dad you relate to?
Wilden from Onward.
Great film.
Yes.
The top half or bottom half?
He's just a pair of pants. No. I'm just joking around. This is really hard. There are so many, I think, themes, of fatherhood that you can choose from, looking at the whole Pixar catalog. I mean, not only, there's also a lot of themes of loss of fatherhood too, like you had mentioned, I think Onward as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
That the challenges of paternity, having to pick up the slack. Another Pixar film too that we don't have mentioned here, Big Hero 6.
Yep.
That's another one that deals with, the kind of the fact that there isn't a father figure. It's the two brothers, and how do they overcome the challenges, right, of taking care of each other, right, and the loss of that, that brotherhood too. Yeah. However, I know I mentioned this already that Jay took Marlon. I do identify with Massimo and how he's willing to just change his view. How he's willing to be flexible, where he had this ingrained sort of trauma with the fish people, and he opens his heart to Alberto and Luca. And he ultimately taking in a child like that and helping to dismantle the prejudice against the sea monsters and helping that team win the Porto Rosso Cup, which is what it's called. That's the pasta that was like that. To me, that was a big example of fatherhood, of the fatherhood theme that I most identified with. The fact that you can change your views and you could say that either I'm wrong or that I'm willing to see another person's point of view and be accepting of it, I think is a lesson that we need, frankly, right now in the world.
Yeah.
Shake, jazz, spirit fingers here. That is, Onward is a great movie. And I think, our last segment here is about like the family dynamics of these films. I loved the dynamic of Onward. I think, we don't get a lot of these like brother stories, right? And the fact that it's Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, so it's like Star-Lord and Spider-Man, both orphans, by the way, right? Star-Lord is an orphan, Spider-Man's an orphan. I just think it's really, I know, deep cuts. I love that the story of Onward is sad, and it, the loss of their father, but it's funny, and the kids are growing together, and they're so they're so oppositional because they're two way different people, but they're united in both their love and their grieving over their father. And I just think that dynamic is something that we don't see too often, especially in kids movies. We see it in grown-up movies, and it's been done a million ways, but like in kids movies, we don't see it like that. And I think that's important. It's important for kids to see that kind of stuff. They might not get it at first, but it'll definitely be in the filing cabinet, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it'll be in there. And if they, God forbid, have to experience something like that, at least maybe it's back there and gives them a little subconscious comfort. But I think that was great.
Yeah, I think Onward is a very underrated movie.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Very, I think it mostly because it happened during COVID, right?
Yep.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it was one of those kind of direct to Disney Plus deals that it wasn't supposed to be.
That's right.
If it had had the full rollout, it would have been a whole different deal.
Yeah.
I think so too. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland.
Yep.
I think.
And it's like fantasy. I mean, I thought that was like a cool movie for them too.
Yeah.
'Cause it was like Dungeons and Dragons-y fantasy world. That was awesome.
Yeah, they had the bar was run by the Minotaur.
Yeah.
That's a great character.
Wasn't that Wanda Sykes? Sykes? Yeah.
Yes.
She's funny. Yeah, she's funny.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Hey, I remember that one. That was good.
I think if I was going to say family, and I know you took it, Ian, I think The Incredibles really does have a fantastic dynamic. I said Inside Out, though, because I really think the way, and it might not be a traditional family, but the way the feelings all have to interact and come together to help Riley overcome the challenges in her life. I think, between sadness and joy and the way they all need to get together and work as a team, to me, has a big family dynamic. Not only that, I really like how you see how the family dynamic plays out in Riley's life too.
And it's not the main character.
Yeah.
It's not, that's what, it's not the traditional thing, because it's not the main character. The main character are the feelings. And it's kind of like this reversal, not how does the family affect your feelings, but how does the feelings affect the family?
Yes. I also like to, towards the end, how you get to see the same emotions in the parents too. And I really like that.
The dad,
Right? Yeah.
And the dad all has mustaches.
Yes.
Mine does. Yep. Mine does too. I gotta say, Incredibles. I mean, this has been my one this whole episode, and I thought an example of the family dynamic here is that Bob and Helen have a fight or a disagreement, and they start talking really loudly, and I thought that was really cool. They showed something that we talked about on a previous episode about making sure that your kids see you make up and to use your words and to work it through, and that seeing the resolution of a disagreement or an argument is very important for kids developmentally. And so that's a moment that I thought was great where they, deal with that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. I will say a runner-up for me is Coco, by the way, too.
Yes.
That is another one that has a fantastic theme of family in it. Extended family, dead family, alive family.
All sorts of families.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I think we've about covered everything we want to cover. We're definitely going to do more of this series, Dad's on Screen. So I hope that people enjoyed this episode. And if they have any ideas for a Dad that's on Screen, please let us know.
Thanks for joining us for this episode about DOS, Dad's on Screen Pixar. Sometimes a good animated film can just move us more than their live-action counterparts. Hopefully you and your family didn't go through too many boxes of tissues listening to this episode as we did watching some of these movies.
If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. If you're already subscribed, share us with your friends.
And on our next episode, we'll be shutting off the Wi-Fi. Not now, but we'll be shutting off that Wi-Fi and putting our tablets in sleep mode. We're talking about screenless after school and exploring hands-on hobbies and family bonding next time on 3-Dimensional Dads.
Exploring fatherhood in the next dimension.